22nd of May, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua with Rashi, Naso. Hello, Rabbi.
Oh, how are you?
Baruch Hashem, how are you?
Hashem, very good. Okay, let's go.
Let's go. I'm on Lamed Bet in chapter Dalet. Is that right?
Just 1 second. Yes.
Okie dokie.
Pasuk Lamed base, correct.
The Amudei Chatzer Saviv V'adneihem v'seidosam umeis rehem l'chol kleihem u'l'chol avodasam uv'shemos tifkedu es klei mishmeres masa'am. Okay, so what does it mean? Let's see. Amudei, the pillars, hechatzer of the courtyard, saviv, all around, v'ad nehem, and their sockets,
Right.
V'seidosam, and their pegs, umeis rehem, and their ropes, l'chol kileihem, for all of their utensils, u'l'chol avodasam, and for all of the service, uve shemos, and the names,
Uveshemos tifkedu, right?
Uveshemos tifkedu, yes. And the names of the delegates?
No. By name, Uveshemos, by name.
By name you shall delegate.
Right.
Es kalei mishmeres, the utensils that they will carry, masa'am, on their watch.
Well, Masa means their duty. I'll tell you, listen, let me read out my translation to you and then I'll fit it into the words.
Okay.
Okay, both of you, we're talking about Moshe and Aaron. Where's he mentioned over here? Yeah, here. It was in the charge of, yeah. Meaning both you and Aaron, with Kosh Baruch Hu speaking to Moshe, both you and Aaron,
Right.
Tifkedu, that's why it's the plural. You shall delegate the articles of their carrying duty to each person by name. Okay, uveshemos, by name, right? Meaning each person who is his particular job. Okay. Each person you shall appoint, means you shall appoint to his particular duty by name. Each one, which utensil or which vessel was his duty to carry.
And how you translate the word masa'am?
They're carrying, mishmeres masa'am means the carrying duty. Means their job, which they were to, what was their job, which item were they were to carry.
So masa'am is duty?
No, mishmeres is duty.
And what's
masa'am means the carrying job. or literally means their burden. It means their job, which they were for carrying.
Okay, and the English says on their watch. That's not in here at all.
No, so the duty, mishmeres, means their duty. Mishmeres masam means their carrying duty. Means the job, their carrying job. You shall appoint each person by name to his particular carrying job.
I see. Okay, I got it.
Okay, good.
That's Lamed Bet.
Okay, listen now. This Rashi's got a major question here. We'll see.
Okay, so Visedo Sam Umes Rehem. Their pegs and their ropes. Shell Amudim of the pillars.
So just let me point out over here. You see, here we've mentioned now in Pasuk 26, Pasuk Chav Vav, it already mentions it mentions the tying ropes of the kalei hechotzer, the hangings of the courtyard, meaning of the enclosure. These hangings, which were placed all around the enclosure, their tying ropes, their ropes was to be the job of the family of Gershuni. That's the implication in Pasuk Chav Vav. And in our Pasuk it says, okay, which is also mashma of the enclosure. The ropes of the enclosure was to be the job of the sons of Merari. So Rashi points out there were two sets of ropes, two sets of tying ropes. So that's what Rashi's saying over here. We say there's some umeisreihem. David, who?
Yeah, they're pegs and their ropes of the pillars.
Oh, of the pillars of the chotzer. It means there was two sets of ropes. There were the ropes that held the pillars of the chotzer in place, and there were the ropes which held the hangings, the kalei chotzer, means the cloths which were next. Those tying ropes were the job of the sons of Gershon. That's what Rashi is going to go on to explain.
Shaharei Yis Dos
Right, carry on.
Umes Rei Hakelaim. For see now the pegs and the ropes of the curtains.
Right.
B'masa b'nei Gershon hayu. The burden of the sons of Gershon they were.
Right.
The Seidos Umei Sarim Layerios Velak Laim
Milmato. Milmato, right?
That's later. There were pegs and ropes for the panels and for the curtains.
Okay.
Milamata, at the bottom.
Right.
Shelo sag bihem haruach, so that they would not be raised by the wind.
The wind shouldn't blow them away, shouldn't raise them.
Right.
Basically, what Rashi is saying as follows. You've got the Mishkan. I don't actually have a picture right here. Here. This. I don't have a picture here. And what I may have over here. Basically means to us that you had the Mishkan itself, the construction of the Mishkan, and on top of it were drapes. The roof of the Mishkan was made of cloth drapes, and they was over the top and down the sides, and there were pegs and ropes to hold it in place that they shouldn't fly away and shouldn't fly out. So that was at the side of the actual Mishkan itself. And then around in the Chotzer, all around, which was made, the actual walls of the Chotzer were made of kla'im, which are crocheted hangings. So those were also held in place with pegs and with ropes. Okay, so now with reference to all these cloth, items of cloth, both the covering the roof of the Mishkan, which was made of urios, drapes, and with regard to the kloim of the chotzer, right, the crocheted hangings of the enclosure of the chotzer of the courtyard, those which were pertaining to the cloth, items of cloth, so that was the job of the sons of the Gershuni. And that's mentioned in Pasuk 26, Pasuk Chov. And with regard to the pillars of the Chotzer, because the hangings, the king, had to hang on something. They couldn't just hang on a midair. So there were pillars all around, and there were like a cross, not much crossbars, I guess you could call it that, crossbars across, from which the hangings, the crocheted hangings, the kloim, from which they hung. The pillars, what held the pillars in place, because they were just like freestanding. So they had to be held into place in order they shouldn't get blown over by the wind, and they should be solidly on the ground. So there were also ropes and pegs to hold the pillars in place. So that's what and that was the job of the Bnei Merari. That's what's mentioned in our pasuk over here, pasuk Lamed Beis. Amudei hachatzer saviv, ba'ad nehem, yisedo isom umeisreihem. So that you see, that was referring in reference to the amudim. Amudei hachatzer saviv, ba'ad nehem, yisedo isom umeisreihem. That's what Rashi is pointing out over here. Okay, that's what Rashi continues now. Yisedo isom umeisarim hayu la'amudim saviv. Carry on, Lou.
And there were pegs and ropes for the pillars all around. Nos bahem hakilaim, to hang the curtains from them. Visfatsam ha'elyonah, by their upper edge. Bichlunsos v'kundasin, with poles and rods. Kamo shenuya b'meleches hamishkan, like what we have been taught in Meleches Mishkan, which is a reference to a book, I guess.
Brisa. It's a brisa of the Meleches HaMishkan.
It's a brisa.
Right. Okay. Fine.
Okay, I think that's the end of that.
Okay, we'll skip now to Pasuk Men Zayin.
Zion.
Okay, by the time we've counted all the sons of Kahos, sons of Gershon, and the sons of Merari between 30 and 50. Okay. So that's what the pasuk's saying over here. How many were there all together? This is the pasuk's going to tell us over here. Actually, the next pasuk Mem Ches. Okay, let's see the pasuk Mem Zayin. Miben shloshim shana v'mala. Meir, you have it?
Yes. Okay. Mi ben shloshim shana v'mala, ben chamishim shana, kol haba la'avod avodah v'avodat masa v'ohel moed. Oh, this excludes me then. Okay, from 30 years and up until 50 years, all who come to perform the avodah, the service of the service.
The Rashi can explain what that means.
Okay, and the work of carrying.
And the carrying, right? Duty.
Carry masa, right, biohel, the tent of meeting. Okay. Let's see, Rashi says, avodah, service of a service. It says, Hu Hashir. This is the song.
By the way, so you mentioned before that you're over age.
I'm 71, I'm retired.
Yeah, I'm saying, but I'm not sure by the Kohanim there was an upper limit of age.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
As long as they could do the avodah properly, there was no upper limit of age.
Oh, that's interesting.
You're on the hook, Meir. You're on the hook.
I'm on the hook now. Right. Okay, so this avodah is Hu Hashir. This is a song.
This is part of the singing.
Oh, the Mitziltayim, the Kinorot. Shehi avodah la'avodah acheret. Okay, so I guess these are instruments. See,
Mitziltayim are symbols.
Symbols, okay, and a kinor is
C-Y-M-B-A-L-S, not S, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying symbols as in spelled C-Y-M-B-A-L-S.
Right, as in an instrument.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and the harps. This.
Okay, I actually translated it as violins.
Kinor is a violin.
String instrument.
Oh, okay. There's a famous song with the kinor. But okay, anyway. Shehi avodah. So this is the service.
For another service.
For another service. Oh.
Meaning the main service was the actual offering up of the korbanos. And when they offered up the korbanos, the Kohanim offered up the korbanos, then the Levite orchestra and choir would perform.
Okay. That's interesting.
That's why it's called avodas avodah. It means it's a service for another service.
Uh-huh. Okay. And then it says vavodat masa, the work for carrying. Let's see, bimash ma'o. Mashma'o.
Means as it means literally.
Oh, as it means literally. Okay. So there were people that had to do the schlepping, the carrying.
Right. So some Levim got to do the singing and playing music, and some Levim got to do the schlepping.
Okay. Very good.
Okay. Now we just got one more pasuk here before Sheni. Anyway, read pasuk Mem Ches. Lou, pasuk Mem Ches.
Mem Ches. Vayu pekudehem shemonas al alafim b'chamesh me'os u'shmonim. So let's see. Their counted ones were 8,580.
Right.
Okay, there's no Rashi on that one. Al pi Hashem pakad osam biyad Moshe ish al avodaso va'al matzao ufekudav asher tziva Hashem es Moshe. Okay, so at the instruction of Hashem, he counted them.
So it's actually rather than counted them, means he appointed them.
I'm sorry, say it again, please.
He appointed them, as we see in the Hemshech of the Pasuk. You see, it goes together. Some al avodaso v'al masor. Here, the word Asher Pokad doesn't mean, Al Pi Hashem Pokad Oisam doesn't mean to count them, because it's referring to the end of the continuation of the Pasuk. Pokad Oisam biyad Moshe, ish al avodaso v'al masor. You understand what I'm saying? It's Kilu who said Pokad Oisam al avodaso v'al masor. Means by the Kodesh Baruch Hu's instructions through Moshe, right? He appointed each man to his service and to his carrying job. I mean, that's what I translated in. I translate as follows: according to the Eternal's instructions through Moshe, Moshe himself appointed them, each person to his work and what he was to carry.
Oh.
Yeah, I see it. That doesn't really. The Hebrew does not really make sense.
No, so you've got the Pokad Osam is referring to Moshe, even though Moshe himself is mentioned here. So you have to, that's the way I translated it. I changed the order of the syntax a little bit. Al Pi Hashem biyad Moshe, according to Hashem's instruction through Moshe. Pokad Osam, Moshe himself appointed them, each man, al avodaso, to his task, va'al masor, and to his carrying job.
Oh.
Now, and this is the last thing, is what Rashi is going to dwell on. Ufkudav. Okay, what does it mean? Ufkudav.
And those
Each
counted
job.
were commanded by those counted as commanded by Hashem to Moshe.
Well, right. Hashem commanded Moshe. Ufkudav means the ones he counted were Asher Tziva Hashem es Moshe, were the ones whom Hashem had commanded Moshe to count. And those whom Moshe counted were only those whom the Eternal commanded him to count.
Yeah, it's the Hebrew is difficult to follow.
So look at that's what Rashi is going to explain. That's the meaning over here.
Okay, so let's see what Rashi says. Let's see. Ufekudav asher tziva Hashem es Moshe. And those counted were as Hashem had commanded Moshe. V'osan hapekudim. And those who were counted, hayu b'mitzvah, were in the commandment. Mi ben shloshim shana, from the age of 30 years, va'ad ben chamishim, until the age of 50.
No, so we're saying what Rashi's saying, he's adding over here that the ones counted by Moshe were the ones whom Hashem had commanded Moshe to count, i.e. the ones between 30 and 50.
Right.
Okay? Fine. Okay, so we're already up to Shlishi. Let's do the next pasuk. Let's start the pasuk Hey. Now, chapter Hey. Chapter Hey, certainly the beginning is quite, not complicated, but it's involved. It's a very important halacha we learn out from here. Okay. Meir, pasuk Hey, chapter Hey, pasuk Aleph.
Okay, now I'm back. By the Be'er Hashem and Moshe Lemor. So Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, Tzavet b'nei Yisrael v'shalchu min hamachaneh kol tzarua v'chol zav v'chol tamei lanefesh. Okay, so he said, command the children of Israel, v'shalchu, they shall send from the camp anyone, sarua, that's saras?
Tzaras, yes, called Tzorah. Any person who's been affected by Tzaras.
Oh, okay. V'chol zav, and if they had it were zav mission, okay.
Anybody who had an addition.
Okay, and anyone, who was impure by a corpse, a body.
Right, very good.
Okay.
Now, the Torah is mentioning over here 3 different types of people who are Tomei. There's one who is Sarua, means somebody who was affected by Tzoras, Chol Zov, and anybody who had an emission, and anybody who came in contact with a dead corpse.
Dead corpse.
Okay, with the corpse. Okay, now we're going to see that these are 3 separate levels of Tumah, and each one had a separate area from which he was forbidden to come. Whereas at Sarua, person at Tzoras was forbidden to enter all areas. We're going to see the ones he was allowed to be in Eretz Yisrael, that wasn't a problem. But he wasn't allowed to be in any area which had at least the basic level of Kedusha, he wasn't allowed to enter.
Uh-huh.
The Zov was allowed to enter the first level, but not the second level. And somebody who was Tomei Lo Nefesh was allowed to enter the first 2 levels, but not the 3rd level. Okay, this is what Rashi is basically going to explain. Okay?
It's interesting to me that usually when you talk about impurity from a corpse, the phrase is tamei mace.
Yeah.
It says tamei lanefesh. Is there any reason for that?
So Rashi is going to explain that the word lo nefesh, as the Targum means, not similarly to a soul, but it means became tomei to the bone. Well, it brings from the Targum the bones of a person. Yeah, why the pasuk doesn't use the term mace, I don't know. Maybe to tell you even part of a nefesh. I'm not sure. Okay, Rashi says, going to explain, according to the Targum, it means it's referring to the bones of a corpse. Okay. Anyway, let's see the Rashi over here first. There's a lot of Rashi on this pasuk.
Okay, so Tzavet b'nei Yisrael v'gomer. Okay, so command the children of Israel. Parsha zo nemra v'yom shehukam hamishkan. Okay, so this section was said on the day, that the Mishkan was built. Hukam. Okay.
Now, Rashi's, I tell you what, Rashi's got a major problem, is why all of a sudden this section, which is really dealing with Tumah and Tara, appear here in Sefer Bamidbar. It should have been in Sefer Vayikra.
Yikra,
We dealt with all these things, and we have in Parshas Tazria and Mitzorah, it mentions both all these different levels of Tumah, all about a Zov and a Mitzorah and Nida and all these other different levels of human impurity. So this din should have appeared over there. So Rashi points out that this was here after we've just described how the Mishkan was set up and how they traveled. So now the Torah is telling you, you should know that the way the camp is set up is in a way that there are three levels of holiness in the three different types of camps in the general encampment, and this has a significance. This din of Tumah. It was as long as they weren't encamped yet, meaning as they're going to be set up, that all the tribes were around, and the Levim were in the middle, and the Mishkan was right in the middle. So these dinim of three separate camps was not relevant. First, the Torah had to tell us there were three different types of camps, and then the Torah tells us you should know, as far as Tumah and Tara is concerned, there are these three different types of camps, these different levels of camps had a significance.
Okay. Okay, so that's how they were set up. Then it says Ushmona Parshiot Nemru Abo Bayom. So there were 8 I guess statements were said.
Oh, no, more than statements, sections.
Sections.
8, which means basically 8 different sections of halacha were said on that day.
Oh, okay. Kediyata b'Masechet Gittin, which is in the Gemara in Gittin.
Right. The Perek HaNizakim.
The Perek HaNizakim. That's damages, isn't it, Nizakim?
Yeah. Actually, the Parsha is not, I'm sorry, the Perek is not, it's dealing with somebody who pays somebody else, right? Meaning somebody owes somebody else money for land or whatever. So the Perek discusses how he can pay. If he doesn't have cash, he can pay in land. It says, "And Izakin Shomlehem be'idis." Okay, so that's my thing. So mentioned not much en passant, I would say, but it's mentioned there, this Gemara, this thing that there was 8 sections, 8 different special halachas were mentioned there on that day, which was Rosh Chodesh Nisan.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, Vishalchu min hamachaneh, and they'll send away from the camp. Shalosh machanot hayusham. So there were 3 camps. B'sha'at haniyatan, when I guess they encamped.
Right.
Okay. Tochak la'im. Inside the curtains.
Right, meaning the kloim means the crocheted hangings, means which made up the enclosure of the chotzer of the Mishkan, right? That is Machane Shechina. That is the camp of Kilo. That's why Kodesh Baruch Hu Shechina rests.
Oh, okay. Chaniyat HaLeviim Saviv. Okay, and the Levim
encampment of the Levim around.
Okay. Kemo shemiforash b'parashat b'midbar Sinai, as it was said in the Parsha.
That's last week's Parsha.
Oh, okay, midbar Sinai. Hi machaneh leviyah, that is the Levites. Okay. L'chol arba
One
haruch.
second. Umishom ve'ad soif machane adgolim.
Oh, I missed something. Okay, Misham ve'ad sof machane hadigalim. From there was sof, the end, until the end of the camps of the flags, I guess.
Which means the encampment of all the 12 tribes.
12 tribes. Okay, l'chol arba haruchot. So in all 4 directions.
He
Machane Yisrael. This is the camp of Israel. Okay. Hatzarua.
actually running out of time, so we're just going to think, yeah.
Okay.
Just read to the end quickly. Hatzarua
Okay.
nishtalech chutz lekula. Then somebody who's a Mitzvah is affected with Tzaras, he's got to go out all 3 camps. Hazov muta b'machane Yisrael. The Zov is allowed to enter the camp of Yisrael, which is the outer camp. Meshulach min hashtayim, but he can't enter the Machne Levia or the Machne Shechina. The Tomei lo nefesh muta av b'shel Levia. Somebody who's to come in contact with a corpse, right? He's Tomei, they cannot come to he's allowed, but not in the camp of the Shechina. In the Meshulach al Mishal Shechina.